Welcome to the American History Channel. Subscribe and leave a like so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos like this one.
A boatman crosses the Colorado alone, a wide river that runs across North America. He steers a wooden hull, the sail tight on the mast. The 1871 image frames Black Canyon, a narrow corridor where the current cuts into the rock. Cliff walls rise from the Arizona desert and guide the passage like ramparts. The progress is slow. Every move takes shape in the silence. In a photo from 1872 near Cedar, Utah, we see a Paiute group in the Great Basin, an arid strip between the Rocky Mountains and the Sierra Nevada. From the west comes their language, from the Numic branch, shared with Mono and Coaisi. The framing captures a moment of everyday life in the desert, where speech leads meetings and keeps bonds. It's memory and territory in the same frame. In Green River, Wyoming, two rocky rises cut the landscape. Known as the Twin Buttes, they entered history in 1872, when William Henry Jackson photographed them on a geological expedition. Since then, they've been a reference point. They guide locals and travelers crossing the region. On the desert horizon, they hold memory and point the way. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. In 1867, Clarence King brought together a team of scientists and technicians to uncover the West. The geological exploration of the 40th parallel was born, set up by the government to follow the route of the future Union Pacific, and section by section, map the riches underground. It was science steering the rails and backing the march of a country in expansion. In 1867, Timothy H. O'Sullivan photographed Pyramid Lake in Nevada. The Salt Lake is what's left of ancient Lake Lahontan, which once covered much of the state's west. Towers of tufa rise from the water, limestone created by hot springs and alkaline waters. These pillars tell, out in the open, the region's long geological story. In 1873, a photograph of Canyon de Chelly in Arizona catches the Camp Beauty Camp. Between tarps and a possible hut, a group settles at the bottom of the valley. Around them, rock walls rise like towers and shape the scene. The shot invites a pause. It points to a root, temporary coexistence, and a careful look at the landscape there. The Zuni lived in western New Mexico. In the 17th century, Spaniards built a church to convert them. The old mission was left empty after the rebellion that drove them out. In 1873, a photograph records the ruins, flanked by stone houses in the plaza of Hawiku, while the village keeps the rhythm of its chores and gatherings. A portrait of continuity, despite the changes. Amid the settlement of the West, the vessel Picture shows up and pauses the route of Lieutenant George Wheeler's expedition. The group travels the Colorado and its tributaries to measure and map the course of the waters. On board is Timothy O'Sullivan, who records places and faces along the way, images that would give shape to the living memory of that crossing. In 1872, explorers reach Browns Park, a mountain enclave in Colorado. Among rivers, lakes, and woods, they recognize a shelter there and a field of study. They choose to extend their stay. They recover, note species, collect samples, and draw maps. As they follow trails and banks, they let the landscape reveal, step by step, its shapes and secrets. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. At Shoshone Falls, on the Snake River in southern Idaho, the scale grabs you, a 65 m drop, 14 more than Niagara Falls, and almost 300 m wide. The scene was born about 14,000 years ago, when Lake Bonneville overflowed, swept the valley, and carved the canyon the snake follows. Today, the overlook is an icon of the American West. In 1871, an explorer rests on a rock by the Colorado River. The water runs fast. The walls close in like a stone corridor. It's Iceberg Canyon, a rough stretch between Arizona and Nevada. Part of a scientific team, he moves across blank maps, notes every detail, and tries to decipher the meaning of that gorge in a little-known territory. A wagon moves across the Carson Sink in the Nevada desert, carrying the traveling darkroom of Timothy O'Sullivan, a photographer of the Civil War in the Old West. 4 mules pull the vehicle over the dry ground. On the trail, Road and dust mix with the craft, and from there come images that span decades and still look back at us. With the silver of the Comstock lode, the mining community of Gold Hill sprang up next to Virginia City. Smaller but lively, it gathered about 8,000 residents between 1868 and 1888. At its peak, mines like Yellow Jacket, Crown Point, and Belcher each paid out more than $10 million in dividends, a shine as intense as it was brief. At the Illinois mine in Nevada, gold extraction picked up speed with a wooden inclined plane built in 1871 in Pahranagat. 2 rails climbed the slope, and a pulley regulated the back and forth. While the loaded car went up, the other came down. The system ran non-stop, shortening steps and keeping the steady flow of ore from the tunnel. In 1867, O'Sullivan arrived in Virginia City, Nevada with a purpose: to show everyday life in the Savage and Gould and Curry mines, pillars of the Comstock lode. To tell that story, he went down about 300 meters, crossed pitch-black tunnels, and recorded the work the surface didn't see, the daily effort at the bottom of the earth. In 1873, a photograph taken from high up in Canyon de Chelly presents a sacred territory, ancestral home to native peoples. The red walls draw curves and cracks that run for miles. In the distance, a green strip of the creek crosses the canyon floor, sharpening the contrast and guiding the eye across the whole scene. In 1872, at the far north of the Colorado Plateau, a river of the Southwest opened a way through rocks and canyons. As evening came, the cliffs grew taller and quieter. The shifting light revealed cracks, curves, and plateaus. The path asked for one more step. Ahead, the landscape lined up water, rock, and time, and left in the air the promise of something beyond the next bend. In 1875, the sun slid over the Great Basin as the Paiute community gathered for an outdoor portrait. In the shade of a big tree, maybe at Cottonwood Springs, Nevada, in Washoe County, they arranged themselves in 3 rows. After the final adjustments, the photographer's voice cut the silence and faces opened into smiles that still reach us. In 1872, Utah witnessed a rare geologic meeting. After ages of wind and water, 2 canyons pushed forward until they touched. Green and Yampa, guided by the Green River's course, crossed at the point where the bed split. From then on, paths joined, and the shape of the West changed forever, a striking chapter written by the land itself. Almost 150 years ago, the photographer O'Sullivan found an unexpected sign. On the sandstone of Inscription Rock in New Mexico, there was a Spanish inscription from 1726. Ensign Don Joseph de Paiva Vasconcelos had recorded his passage on February 18th. A brief mark, yet able to link 2 travelers across centuries, making the present touch the past. Known as the People, the Navajo form a native nation of North America. Their path crosses deserts and cultural encounters. With an Athabascan language and tied to the Southwest, they migrated from the north and settled on a broad plateau that reaches Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah, where the largest native reservation in the United States took shape. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. In 1873, the White House ruins emerge in Canyon de Chelly, Arizona, an old home of the Pueblo peoples, Anasazi, built into the cliffs more than 5 centuries earlier. Around them, groups of men spread through the nook and the valley, posing among structures and rubble. Ropes connect them, tracing a safe path between the height and the ground. In 1867, a team went down the Truckee River in Nevada. Leading the run, the boat Nettie faced rapids and tight bends. The goal was to survey the course, assess navigation, and point out passages in the west of the state. With these records, planners could lay out routes and boost future commercial connections. From the top of the hill, Santa Fe appeared like a continuous story. Founded in the 17th century under Spanish rule, it reached 1873 already crowned the capital of New Mexico. Narrow alleys, adobe houses, and stone churches held on. Between memory and change, the city moved forward, taking in the new without erasing the traits that define it. In 1871, Maiman, a Mojave man, became the link between explorers and the land of the Colorado. As guide and translator for John Wesley Powell's team, he led an expedition that mapped rivers and trails and, above all, gathered local knowledge. His mediation recorded stories and names that, without him, would have faded from the map and memory for those who came after. Alta City emerged in the 19th century when prospectors from the Emma, Flagstaff, and nearby mines settled in Little Cottonwood Valley. The Emma, thought to be rich in silver, was sold in 1871 for a large sum to British investors. Soon, the illusion collapsed. It was a fraud. The episode soured U.S.-British relations and became a congressional investigation. In 1871, Timothy O'Sullivan photographed Cathedral Mesa in Arizona. The parched ground stretches out as far as the eye can see, and in the background, the Colorado winds in silence. Under bright light, the mesa shows reddish tones and firm outlines. Between rock and current, the landscape lays out a contrast that guides the eye and hints at time sculpting the desert.